Okay, so I'm going to welcome if you're here live. Welcome. Just make sure you put in the chat box that you can hear me. And as you do that, I am going to go ahead and share to Facebook. So hold on while I do that. So welcome as you come on here. This is very exciting for me. Okay. So tell me, as I am doing this, where are you coming in from? And how are you feeling today? Are you excited? Just check on in with me. Go ahead and put it in the chat box, especially if you can hear me. It's helpful to see that little ping that y'all are hearing me. And also, can you see our cute little helper, Jade? That's my office manager. We've got Jade, the office manager, here today. All right. Oop, there we go. So going to hit go live. There we go. And I'm going to make sure my mute is on. Okay. So I'm not seeing anyone in the chat box yet. If you're here live, go ahead and put something in the chat box. Just say hi, wave, let me know you can hear me, etc. That is helpful. Very good. So we have someone saying they can hear me. Okay, good. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate that. All right, I'm really excited. Welcome. This is day 2 of 4. And we are now live on Facebook. And so I will attempt to check in to Facebook comments. But just so you know, if you are watching me on Facebook, this is a wonderful series. Definitely join to the with the link. The link will be posted later. And yeah, so I'm very excited. Let me go ahead and clear out of a couple other things, then we'll get started. I'm very excited today. We're going to start demystifying all of the mysterious symbols that the universe likes to send us. And it's really good. Yes. Okay, good. So Jessica can see Jade, the helper cat. And I've got Nadia right. She's just out of the camera's view, but she's helping to pray that she does not turn off my computer. Because every once in a while, she likes to literally put her paw on the power button. So if that happens, I will be back as soon as I can. Okay, and let me send the last email to let people know that we are live since everything is working. And then we are good to go. Okay, excellent. Okay, so welcome. I am so excited about the demystifying the symbols. By the way, thank you everyone who sent their dreams. Thank you, Javier. Yes, so basically everyone who sent me a dream beforehand, I really appreciate it because we're going to be getting into symbols today, and it's really interesting. So for those of you who are here live, I'll have the opportunity to kind of go through and help you with your own symbols. So make sure to join and comment in the chat. That's how I do that. And we're going to dive on in here in just a second. I'm going to close out of anything that doesn't need to be on my screen. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, good. That got sent. That got sent. Excellent. Okay, so now I'm going to share my PowerPoint. Okay, so we're going to share this and we're going to move this on up. So this is masterclass number 2. And if you're watching the replay, be sure to put the comment somewhere under the replay video. There should be a place for comments. That way I can jump in and answer questions. Okay, so this is about demystifying the mysterious. Let's go a little bit over what we're going to cover and just dive in. So we're going to do a quick review of last time. We're going to talk about why you get symbols instead of direct language. So some of y'all get a pass. So my clairaudient and claircognizant folks who are almost exclusively clairaudient and claircognizant, you're exempt from this because you get direct knowing and you get direct words. So y'all are pretty much exempt. You're very lucky. We're going to talk about why dreams are so incredibly valuable, even if you are clairaudient or claircognizant. And we're going to talk about the two different symbol types. There's visual symbols, which are the most commonly recognized. Everywhere you go, you can see, oh, you dreamed about a snake. This is what it means. But what is not often talked about are the symbols that come through the physical body as sensations. So the feelings inside the body, the emotions inside the body, and etc. So we're going to talk about how to decode those because it can be super easy. It can be super easy. So everyone who's here today or watching the replay is going to get the Forgiveness Alchemy meditation. The Forgiveness Alchemy meditation is a nice, short 8-minute meditation that helps you take a pain or a frustration and resolve it. It helps you get a message for you as well as release the pain long term. And so I'm giving that away. And I like to give things away for 2 reasons. Number one, I've been doing this for 8 years, and there's lots of stuff that I don't necessarily sell, and you can't necessarily buy, that just kind of sits on my computer. So I like to give things away because it's already here. I'd like to find a way for it to benefit people. But number 2, Forgiveness Alchemy is really important to me to teach and to share, because I got a lot of questions in my inbox and in a couple other places and comments about, okay, you talked about your ex leaving you. How do you actually forgive someone if they've hurt you? And so I want to make sure that you have a way to let go. So this is a really short but powerful meditation that lets you transform that. It also works well with the intuition, because especially if you have pain points from your past, it's really wise to learn how to release those pain points so that you can actually experience more peace. And the more peaceful you feel, the easier it is to hear your intuition. So it's a win-win. And that's what we like. We like win-wins. And so basically a review of why I teach this, basically my life transformed, and the lives of my students transformed the second that they learned how to choose to listen to their intuition and honor the message that comes through, as well as taking aligned action through trust. So actually next time we're going to be talking about how to integrate the ego. We got a lot of really good questions about the ego last time. And as I mentioned, the last 2 classes are going to be on trusting yourself and trusting the universe. And the number one thing that trips us up is the ego. The ego likes to trick us, keep us safe, etc. Press 1 in the chat box if you have ever had a sensation that you thought was your intuition, but actually ended up being your ego, right? And the reason that happens is because the body doesn't know how to do anything different. Yeah, so Esther's had that experience. Yeah, and so the body is just trying to keep you safe. And so we're actually going to talk about and do a meditation to help you work through that so that you don't have to have that experience. So William's had that experience too. Good. Excellent. Okay. Okay, a couple things that I do want to reiterate, because we talked about this last time. Everyone is unique and has their own path. I want to reiterate this because the body is unique for each person. And as we go through the symbols, you'll be like, that doesn't resonate with me for some of them. And that's okay. Well, hello, Nadia. She now wants to say hi. Come on. Freedom cat. There we go. And so you really want to honor your unique path, and you also want to trust yourself. You really want to honor how your intuition speaks to you. And you want to build that self-trust as you work with these techniques. So everything that I share is a skill, and while some people find them easier to master than others, everyone can learn them. And also just a reminder, if you feel frustrated that you're practicing something that you've practiced before, this is something professionals do on the regular. This is something that those of us who are in this as the career, as our lifelong calling, we do this regularly. Okay, so the 4 keys, once again, key 1 is receiving intuitive information. And the way you tell that you're receiving accurate intuitive information is, do you have a pulse? It's really that simple. If you have a pulse, your body will always receive intuitive information. And key number 2 is recognizing intuitive information. So this is what we worked on last time, was recognizing how is the intuition speaking to you, etc. We didn't focus too much on interpretation, but we spent just a few minutes on it. And today, that's all we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking those intuitive symbols and transforming it into something you can do something with, something that you can understand, something that you can take appropriate aligned action on. And then in the next 2 classes, we're going to talk about how to trust the intuitive information, trust yourself, and take aligned action. Actually get the body into motion in alignment with your heart's dreams, goals, and desires. Okay, so we are going to go through, once again, the number 1 phrase that will halt your psychic progress in its track, because we're working with the intuition again today. And that one is, I didn't get any intuitive hits. So long as you are in my online class, that phrase is banned. You cannot use it. Instead, your reframe is going to be, I don't understand what my intuition is telling me. And so you're going to say, show me the same thing a different way. Show me the same thing a different way. Okay, so we'll do a quickie review of the 3 levels of conscious awareness, because we are going to be working with the subconscious today. The conscious mind is your most aware mind, and it processes anywhere from 35 bits to 60 bits of information per second. The subconscious is the one we're going to be working with today, and it mostly speaks in symbols, but it processes about 10,000 bits of information per second. And then the unconscious mind is the deepest part of your mind and body. It includes all of the body processes that you may not need to know consciously at all. Okay, so now we're going to dive on in. Well, actually, no, we're going to do a quick review. Clairvoyance means clear seeing, so you're going to see things in your mind's eye or with your physical eyes. Clairaudience is clear hearing. You'll get clairaudient information through audio. You'll hear something. Clairsentience is a sensation. So if you're an empath, you are clairsentient. And claircognizance is clear knowing. So thanks for working with me as we go over the things we went over last time. That's really important, because I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page here as we move on to interpretation. So we're going to talk about dreaming. It's really important to work with your dreams. And the reason that it's important to work with your dreams is because dreams are your subconscious way, your subconscious mind's way of passing on information from the universe, from your guides, and also just from the wisdom that your body has collected from however long you've been alive. Your body mind is actually incredibly brilliant, even without the connection to the guides, and you have the connection to the guides on top of that. The body mind has been processing millions and millions of bits of information your entire life. And so now that you are here where you are now, your dreams is your subconscious giving you insight. And then your guides also will give you messages through your dreams, and your higher self will give you messages through your dreams. And so it's really wise to be aware of what you're dreaming, because you're getting messages from all angles with your dreams. And so there are 5 things that I recommend you look for in your dreams. You want to look for any colors that really pop out to you, because the colors have messages. You want to look at the scene or location that your dream is happening. And you want to look at the characters that show up in your dreams, and you want to look at the items, and you want to look at the story. Now, we're starting with dreams because everyone dreams. Even if you don't remember your dreams, you still have dreams, and you can work with them if you choose to. So dreaming is universal, so I like to start there, but we're going to get into more of the nitty-gritty in a little bit. But the dreams, I've got a question here. Let me just take a look. Rhea asked a good question. Since everyone's ability around clear knowing, clear hearing is different, how can I tell I'm being fair to the situation or person, that it's not my fear speaking? That's a really good question, Rhea. We're going to get there in a minute. So good. And then Arden says, my dreams are getting more vivid and has more messages. This is new to me. Does that mean I'm developing my intuitive ability? Yes, it does, Arden. Yes, it does. So the more vivid your dreams, especially if you decide that's how you want to work with your intuition, your guides will start sending you messages almost exclusively through your dreams. But you can get it however you want to. for about almost a decade, I didn't really pay that much attention to my dreams, even after I started doing this work professionally, because I knew how to tune into my spirit guides at will. So I didn't really want to dive into my dreams. And thank you for the compliment on the lipstick. This lipstick is new, and I'm really excited because I got it yesterday. And it actually looks way better on video than it does in person. In person, it looks weird, but on video, it doesn't. So anyway, that has nothing to do with dreaming. We're going to move on. So by the way, videoing yourself for a living is really weird because things that look good in person don't look good on video and vice versa. Anyway, so moving on. Whenever you are getting dreams and you're getting messages with dreams, you really want to decide whether that's how you want to be getting your messages or whether you want to do it through meditation. And it's as simple as making a decision. I highly recommend working with your dreams because a lot of things can come out of it. So I don't want to keep this theory. We're going to go ahead and start decoding some dreams now. And so then the way I'm going to do this is go ahead and send all your questions to me anywhere that you want. After I decode a couple, after I decode this next dream, then I'll start answering some questions. Okay. So this one is from Esther. I didn't put names down here. And she sent this to me yesterday. So on the night of the 10th, she dreamed that she was an outer space explorer. A female friend of hers was in the dream, but it's someone that she didn't know in person. This is actually a really important piece of information. And that individual had a child who was friends with her 3 children. She actually has 3 kids in her real life. This female friend's brother was depressed and committing suicide. The female friend then got sad about her brother's passing and also committed suicide, and the child was left to Esther. I remember thinking that I would have to buy a new car as ours only seats 5, and then I was exploring space with all 4 children in her spaceship, and she was charting things, galaxies, etc., and studying things that she found. She had an aha moment, which during her dream was really revelatory. And basically everything is represented as fundamental truth. And her discovery was that everything is alive. And so this is a really wonderful dream to interpret. So let's start with breaking it down. I'm going to go ahead and take all the bold off. Let's get that here. So let's talk about the location. Where did this happen? It happened in outer space, right? So outer space is where it happened. And so outer space is a really good symbol. So outer space talks about the expansion of the universe. It usually shows up in dreams and dream life, and your message from the guides when you are in an expansion phase of your life. So you will tend to have dreams about the galaxies or outer space when you're in an expansive phase, and whenever you are exploring options, right? You're making discoveries about yourself. This is, kind of underlined by the fact that she's an explorer in this dream. Now, interestingly, anytime you have a dream about people, if it's someone who you know, it might relate to something that you're doing in your physical, and waking life. So if you have a dream about a friend that you know in your day-to-day waking reality, then it's really wise to explore how you're feeling and with that friendship. And your dream is going to give you information about that friendship. Now, since this is a female friend that she doesn't know, this is an aspect of herself. So Esther, this is an aspect of yourself. And the part of the story here, so we're now looking at characters, right? So that's the phase that we're working on right now, is we're looking at characters. We've already got location. I didn't notice any major colors, but we'll do another check for that. But the character is the female friend, the female friend's brother, the children, right, and herself. So those are the different pieces here. And it's really important to keep in mind that, the female friend represents a piece of herself. The female friend's brother was, committed suicide, and then they both committed suicide. So Esther, go ahead and tell me if this resonates. But usually whenever there's a suicide or a death in a dream of a person, it means that there's certain aspects of your personality that you are working to transform, and then parts of your personality that you feel don't serve you anymore, you have been working to cut out of your life, right? So the person is a representation of the part of self that you are transforming. And here's part of the message for you. As this part of your personality is ejected, there's a new project or a new opportunity that's coming in that means you're going to have to drastically change how you show up in your life, right? And the reason I say that is because she left her child to me. Okay, we'll bold that. So basically, the suicide represents that death, that change, represents a part of yourself that is passing on, that is transforming to the point that it's no longer recognizable. That's basically dying in exchange for the child that this part of the self is leaving for you. And the child is either your inner child, or it is also a project. It can be a project that is new to you, that you are beginning. And the other interesting object here is a new car. A new car. Here we go. And the new car, so anytime you dream about a car as a symbol, it is showing you the vehicle for your life. Sometimes it represents career. Sometimes it is about your path in general. But in general, if you see a car in a dream, you want to see if the car has a color. If the car is red or orange, then likely that's career related. If it is very orange, it could be passion project related or relationship oriented. If the car is green, that's talking about the heart-centered connection. And so a new car is going to represent a new way of moving forward. There's a new vehicle that's going to move you forward that's different than what you've done in the past. So your past either career or habits aren't going to work for you anymore, right? You're going to have to leave them behind, and you're going to have to choose a new vehicle to move forward. But once you do, you get to explore space, and you get to explore that brilliant, wonderful message that everything is alive. Right. And so this is the message for you as you're moving forward. So there's been this death, right, in your life. There's been this significant change. There's been this big transformation. And yet everything is still alive. Everything is still vital. There is life everywhere you turn. So especially if you're feeling desolate in some areas of your life, this dream is showing you that everything is in fact alive and it's vibrant. And the reason that it felt revolutionary in the dream is because you were learning it on a much deeper level. Whenever you're aware, the conscious mind can be like, oh, I already knew that. But actually feeling it and embodying it is wildly different. So let me know whether that resonates with you, Esther, and whether that makes sense. And go ahead and let me know if that makes sense to you, even if you're not Esther. And I'm going to go ahead and read some of the comments here, and I'm going to answer some questions, and then we're going to do another one. So Arden says, if you have vivid visceral feelings, you feel the coldness of the water, if you're underwater in the dream, does that mean that's an area of your psychic ability? Yes, really good question. That means that you are clairsentient as well. And so, for instance, if you feel the coldness of the water, it is giving you information about the type of emotions. We're going to talk about water in a bit. And so water almost always represents emotions and dreams. And so if the water feels cold and you're under it, it is going to feel like the emotions are cold, but they're still drowning you. So you're going to look at the lower vibe emotions. So things like grief, things like despair, things like apathy. Apathy is a really intense emotion that feels like not caring. Like, I don't care. I can't care. I don't have the bandwidth to care. I'm not interested in caring, etc. So let me know if that makes sense to you, Arden. And then Jody says that makes sense. Esther says, oh my gosh, this absolutely. I'm changing, and there's been a major shift, and I'm so pleased with your interpretation. Thank you. You're welcome, Esther. So important thing here, I am a professional psychic, but I'm not tuned in to Esther's energy here. We're just looking at symbols, right? And so this is why I really like dreams and dream symbols, because it shows you how you can interpret things on a long-term level. William asks a really good question. He says, how can you remember your dreams better? Here's how you do it. Actually, we're going to do a new slide for this because I want this to be how to remember. And we're going to do some numbers. Step 1, decide you want to remember your dreams. It sounds so simple, but this decision point is crucial. You have to make that decision, and it has to be a decision of the heart. It can't just be, oh, I think I should do this, so I'm going to, right? It has to be a decision of the heart. Decide you want to remember your dreams. Right before bed, place your hands over your heart. You'll place your hands over your heart and you'll say, I want to remember my dreams. I will remember my dreams. And you want to repeat that until it feels like it's settled in your body. It shouldn't just feel like a thought. If it just feels like a thought that you have in your head, it's not going to work as well. You want to really internalize it, and as best you can, you want to say it with your heart. So the difference here is just think, I like the color blue. Right? Just think it. And now actually put your hands on your heart and think about what your actually favorite color is. If you can feel that difference, then that's the difference between thinking you want to remember your dreams and deciding in your heart you want to remember your dreams, right? So I will remember my dreams. When you wake up, write down the most important symbols. I got an email from someone, and I can't remember who sent me this email. But you want to, they were like, I really am not functional first thing in the morning. You know, I have a really hard time remembering my dreams. I really recommend just writing down the most important and memorable aspects of your dreams. It can be just a sentence or two, and that's fine. So you write down the most important symbols, and then when you have the bandwidth, okay, when you have the bandwidth after your cup of coffee, later in the evening, if you have to, write down everything that you remember. So when you wake up, you write down the most important symbols. If you can, I recommend doing steps 3 and 4 together. So let me see if I can't get these. These numbers are a little too small. Nope, not letting me fix it. Oh, well, we have small numbers. It's fine. So does that make sense on how to remember your dreams? Go ahead and let me know. Good. Arden said, that makes sense. Could you talk about writing down dreams, journaling about dreams different from automatic writing? Yeah, okay. So I'll talk about that in a second. Anya, night after night, I kept dreaming that I've been shown symbols or objects that are the solution or key to something, but I don't remember any specifics when I wake up. Okay. And it feels like I'm being taught while I'm asleep, but it don't feel any different in the morning. Is it possible that I'm learning in my sleep anyway? So Anya, especially if you've been going through a spiritual awakening, and you've been actively working with your guides and you asked your guides to teach you specific spiritual knowledge, then yeah, this is something that happens very commonly, is you will start to feel that recognition in your mind's eye and in your heart. And so especially if you don't remember the specific symbols, you have 2 options. You can either ask your guides for a sign that you don't need to understand the symbols consciously, or you can ask them to reveal what those symbols are, right? And it's just about personal preference. If you don't need to know it, but you're just curious, then choose option 2. Go ahead and ask them to tell you anyway. It's okay to make that choice. Okay, good. So that makes sense. Okay, good. Let me go ahead and answer Ria's question. She's been patient. So Ria says, since everyone's ability around clear knowing and clear hearing is different, how can I tell if I'm being fair to the situation in person and it's not my fear speaking? So this is a really good question, Ria. Basically, intuitive info, we talked about this a little bit last time. Intuitive info, as you get calmer and more peaceful, will increase. And if it's egoic or if it's fear, then it will decrease. If it feels tinged with fear and then you connect to it even more and you feel even more frantic, that's a good sign that it's mostly ego. And if as you tune in more and more, you feel more grounded and more certain, even if there is some anxiety or fear or other emotions, you want to notice the change. You want to notice the shift that happens as you make that focus. Let me know if that makes sense, Ria, before I move on. And then I'm going to get a drink of water here. Okay, one more drink of water. That was not enough. Okay, so she also says, right before I fall asleep, I seem to see a lot of faces I don't recognize and I don't know what to make of it. Maria, this could be multiple things. If you are seeing lots of faces you don't recognize and they feel important to you in some way, then you can go ahead and ask for more information as you're falling asleep. But for the most part, if you're seeing them as you're falling asleep, but they're not showing up in your dreams, I probably wouldn't worry too much about it. And then Maria says, I made some practice on my end. It's difficult to let go of fear or anxiety based on experiences. That's okay. You're not actually trying to let it go. You're just trying to notice this shift. So when you have something that might be an intuitive hit, you put your hands over your heart. You say, whatever the phrase is. So if you think it's an intuitive hit and it's like, so-and-so is going to betray me, right? Like that's the intuitive hit. And it has some fear because you don't want them to betray you and you like them. Then you just put your hands over your heart. So-and-so is going to betray me. And you notice what happens with the energy. Does it settle in? Does it feel like expansion, peace? Does it feel more certain? Does it feel more settled? Like, or does it feel frantic? Does it feel like your anxiety is heightening as you do it? And so this is a 2 to 3 second process. And you just need to notice that shift. And that will tell you everything you need to know about whether it's intuition or fear. And sometimes it's both, right? Sometimes our intuition will give us a ping on something and we're actually afraid of that outcome anyway. And so it can get a little bit muddled, but that's why you always want to ask in. And you can always ask, okay, intuition, I didn't understand that. Can you send me that same message a different way? This is what I make all of my pro trainees do. Oops. Okay, there we go. I make them practice the phrase, show me the same thing a different way, whenever they're working with getting a message for other people, specifically because, especially if it's not even your own life, that you're getting a message about, you want to practice, like really looking at it from multiple angles and practicing getting a message in multiple different ways for confirmation, especially if you're feeling fuzzy about it, etc. Does that make sense? Go ahead and let me know in the chat box. Okay, let me go ahead and check to see if there's anything on the Facebooks. People who have questions on that video. Oh, I better turn off this audio or else someone will, we don't want to accidentally hear me talking on top of me actually talking. Okay, so good. So it makes sense to everyone so far. Excellent, good. Good, okay. Okay, excellent. Excellent. So we don't have any new comments yet. Wonderful. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to some other questions. I believe Arden asked a question. So hold on while I get back to. So Arden says, could you talk about writing down dreams? This is journaling about dreams, different than automatic writing, and then tips about automatic writing. Okay. So basically with automatic writing, Arden, you are sitting down and you're not thinking about things, you're not reflecting, you're writing what is in your awareness, but you're not doing anything else. With dreams, you are remembering something that has happened and you are recording what you remembered. So writing about a dream is you writing about a recollection that you have. And if you are doing automatic writing, you are just flowing. The words are coming out and you're not consciously thinking about it. Your conscious mind is not an active participant to what you are doing, right? Does that make sense? Let me know, Arden, and then we're going to move on. Okay, we're going to move on to dream number 2, and we're going to practice that. So dream number 2, and I don't remember who sent this to me. So if this is your dream, go ahead and let me know in the chat box. I have a recurring dream in a very large house with seemingly innumerable rooms and outdoor spaces, each distinct from another, but somehow my unconscious registers this as the same place. By the way, this is very common. So let's go ahead and highlight where's the location. It's a very large house with innumerable rooms and outdoor spaces. Bloop. Okay. I discover different rooms in this house and usually encounter people from high school, my early 20s, distant relatives, as well as people in my current life. There are wild parties, and I encounter one or two people from my past, which leads to more adventures. So what is happening in this dream? First off, this is a recurring dream with a large house and innumerable rooms. So this usually talks about your mind and your subconscious, in the fact that you basically have unlimited options and unlimited possibilities on what you can play with, explore, etc. And so basically, whenever you have a recurring dream, you really want to focus on what is coming up and what that physical location looks like. So your dreamscape will use these recurring spaces so it doesn't have to create something new. And then you also have that you're encountering people from high school, your early 20s, and distant relatives. So this is representing your past memories and people in your current life. And there are wild parties, which represents, that you are letting loose and having fun. And you encounter one or two people from your past at these parties, which leads to more adventures. So basically, if you have a recurring dream like this, let's go over some of the symbols here. So again, we didn't get a lot of colors with this specific dream, but the location is a house with lots of rooms. The characters are people that they know in person, and they have a lot of connection with, right? So usually there's people that they knew in high school, etc. So anytime this comes up for you, you want to notice who is showing up in the dream at that moment. And that character is usually a reflection of what's going on in your internal life. Some of the items is basically the rooms, which also is the location. And this is talking about the different aspects of life. And the story is focused on adventure. So this particular individual is very, oh, Aditi, wonderful. Okay. She says that the colors tend to be muted, but the special people are always wearing bright colors like orange, red, and yellow. Okay, good. So if they're wearing vibrant colors, especially notice, Aditi, anytime they have specific colors on, because that's going to relate to the chakra that they are working with, right? So if, for instance, you're playing with someone and they have a bright orange shirt on, for instance, then that's letting you know that it's time to work with your passion and expression and everything that has to do with the sacral chakra. If you don't know what the chakras are, we're actually going over them today, but we're stopping just a little bit here. But you really want to pay attention, especially if they tend to wear colors that are in the lower chakras, like the orange, the red, and the yellow. That's letting you know how to engage with the world. Also, the fact that there's so much focus on adventure here, it's really wise to make sure you're getting enough of that in your life. So make sure that your outward life is reflecting the adventure that your soul is craving. So let me know if that makes sense, Aditi. And then Arden had a question. So I'm going to go ahead and circle back. Okay. Okay, so Arden asks, for automatic writing, it's the flow of thoughts without judging. How do I alleviate myself from worrying about having my mind involved? What if my imagination and subconscious preference flow into the writing? Is that desirable for the automatic writing process? So Arden, what I recommend is really tuning in and relaxing into the automatic writing. So basically what most people do is they tune into their guides first, and then they have a specific question or a prompt or a subject that they'd like to write on or get a download for. And then they write everything that comes to them. And what happens whenever they're in the flow, there's no need for imagination. It might come through as visuals. It might come through as sensations or a knowing. Or you may even hear the words, but whenever you're doing automatic writing, it bypasses that conscious process. So you're not thinking about it. If you notice that your mind is engaging with the material, and trying to create the material, that's letting you know that it's not actually automatic writing, that you're actually in the creative process. So that's a little bit different. So good. Okay, so it resonates with the DD. Good. Arden, you should have, if you actually, I don't know if you have it or not. So yeah, go ahead and ask for their assistance by just basically following any of the intuitive guidance that we have here. Because if you're tuning into any of the things that we did last time or this time, then you're automatically talking to your guides. You don't actually have to know their names or see their faces or anything. That's part of the beauty of the different clairs. You simply ask a question, you get an answer. And even if you don't see or feel the presence, you still have accurate information. So really good question. Okay, so we're going to move on. And so this is Drasco. I don't think he's going to be able to make it live. I think he sent me an email saying he couldn't make it live. So we will not hear whether this resonates for him or not. Okay, good. I'm glad that helped, Arden. But this is really interesting. So basically, the dream is he felt like he was in his old childhood building back in Serbia where he was born, and he's going up to his apartment at the age that he is now. This is actually really important. And as he's in the hallway, he meets a homeless black man, relevant only because there's not really any black people in Serbia. Plus, the subconscious is creating this. So the subconscious creates skin color on purpose too, right? And so it's really, really interesting. And this person has a key to his apartment, and he rumbles and opens the lock. He's drunk and he's making noise. I startle him and he laughs because I'm also wearing my sleeping mask and he's tired, and Drasko wants to go to bed. This particular man laughs and he moves past him. And then Drasko goes to the apartment where his parents are still sleeping. His mom is on the floor. I tell her to go back to sleep, only to find the homeless guy had entered and started to sleep, and the key he had is on him. I grab the key, pull him out the door, and he gets up and starts telling me that he's angry. The apartment number was 14, which is his birthday. Okay, this is really, really fascinating. So let's talk about the childhood home. So this is something that, since it felt like his old childhood building back in Serbia, this is representing an old pattern that he's had since childhood, right? So the location is a childhood building back in Serbia. So this is where he was born. He is his current age. This is very interesting. I really like this. So Drasko, thank you for being a guinea pig. I can't wait to hear what you think of my interpretation. He's in the hallway and he meets a homeless black man. Now, here's the thing. Whenever there is a shadow self coming up in a dream and you are a white person and this person is happening in a dream space where there are not a lot of people of color, that almost always represents the shadow self. The shadow self will, especially if you have white skin, tend to show up as a darker reflection because of how we in Western culture use language, right? This is how a lot of unconscious racial biases happen, not the only way. But it's really wise to keep this in mind. We're not going to get into a deep discussion on race today, but I will tell you that if you are white and your primary language uses light and dark to represent different aspects of self, and light is considered good and dark is considered bad, whenever you notice a part in the dream where you have a darker skin, then that is going to let you know you're dealing with the shadow self, the shadow self. So this is an aspect of yourself that you don't really like, that you have not really fully accepted or welcomed or integrated. Right now, this is something I really recommend everyone work with. That way you're not bringing prejudices and racial crap into daily life. That way, we can all have equity. But whenever you're working in the dream world, you're working with what is. So I hope that makes sense. Press 1 if that makes sense to you, because, we can't just avoid the race issue here in these conversations. Good. Makes sense to Esther. Makes sense to Xana. Good. Good. Excellent. Good. So you really want to be mindful of languaging and how entities show up in your dreams. And so I could bet you money, Drasco, that you were actually meeting your shadow self here. And let's talk about your shadow self. Let's talk about his personality. So he's drunk. He's making noise, right? You startle him a lot, and he laughs. He laughs at you, right? Because you're wearing the sleep mask. So he is antagonizing you on purpose. And you just want to get some rest, but your shadow self is not letting you. He's causing problems for you, right? So your shadow self is coming up in the stream. You're back in childhood patterns, and he's making noise, and he's having a hard time. You're having a hard time getting the rest that you want. And the apartment number is the same date as your birthday, and you are your current age. This is letting you know that your shadow self is interfering currently with your current life. And he is causing problems. He's making it hard for you to rest. He's making it hard for you to feel safe in your own home, which is your body and your surroundings, right? And you're wearing a sleeping mask. Now, the sleeping mask is an item. So really quick, I'm getting chills with this one. So I'm going to actually take this to the audience. If you're watching this, what could the sleeping mask represent? Use your imagination. You can use Google to look it up and paste something in there. I don't care. Go ahead and give it your best guess. If you saw a sleeping mask as a visual symbol, what is it representing? What could that mean? This is going to be really good. So go ahead and do this. Yeah. Ria says the entire dream is an awakening of sorts. Absolutely. Willful blindness, says Anya. Good. Good. Aspects about himself he doesn't want to see. Very good, Martina. Yeah. We already know we're working with a shadow. Good. Excellent. We're going to get 2 more responses, and then we're going to move on. He's blind to his shadow self. Good, Esther. The number is fascinating, says Ria, and I agree. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So whenever I see a sleeping mask, basically all of your interpretations are spot on. And so we're going to get to what the number means, but basically we have a sleeping mask. He's wearing the sleeping mask, even though he's actually encountering his shadow self, he still has his sleeping mask on. Oh, I'm getting chills. And so basically here he is looking his shadow self in the face, and he still wants to be asleep. There's this part of him that wants to be asleep, wants to not see, wants to not perceive what is going on. That he is so resistant to this. And Drasco, don't worry about it. We all go through this, especially when working with the shadow. And thank you so much for letting us demonstrate this with this dream. And then Arden says, sometimes different people have different interpretations of the same image. Is it most important for the dreamer himself to intuit the interpretation? Yes, Arden. You really want to interpret your own dreams as best you can. So Drasco, just choose what resonates with you. But yes, this is such a clear one that I suspect, I'm 98% sure. I'm not even tuned in right now. I'm 98% sure we're correct here. Because, he has a sleeping mask. Look at all of the context we have here. We have him at his current age, and his birthday is on the 14th. So he is confronting something as he is getting older. So Drasco, I'd be very curious what month your birthday is in. I think I knew this at one point. And so here's the thing. Whenever he has that sleeping mask on, he is in this space. Oops. Let's move back here. He's in this space of basically, he's sleeping mask means you're asleep at the job, right? He's not actually doing this. So basically, Jessica, for you, you likely you've either recently had a birthday or you're about to have a birthday, right? So go ahead and email me and let me know where we're right or wrong here. But there's something about your aging process that you're thinking about, and you're doing that review, and your shadow self is coming up, and he's making a muck of things. He's making it hard to work through some of your stuff. And and then he's causing some problems. And so you're also trying to get him out the door. And then this shadow self is telling you that he's angry. And so basically, whenever you see a dream like this, that has a shadow self in and that has the sleeping theme, and you're confronting the shadow self, there's one really important piece that you want to work with here. And that is the shadow is asking to be integrated, and it's asking to be recognized. The shadow will cause havoc as long as it is under the surface and it's not fully owned and fully recognized. The shadow will actually be a helpful partner to you as you integrate it and work with it. Press 1 if that makes sense. And then I've got a couple comments here. Okay, so Arden says, this is so fun and informative. You're so welcome. Arden says, with her dreams, I'll ask myself, what does this mean to me, and trust the first idea as long as it feels grounded and wholesome. That is common with claircognizance. And Arden, I guess the pronoun she, is that the right pronoun? Let me know. I want to call people by the appropriate pronouns. Always correct me if I call you by the wrong pronouns or the wrong name, please. Yes, she. Okay, good. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so we're moving along. William asked a really good question, and he asked, are your dreams and your meditation visions interpreted the same way? Yes, it really is. This is the really fascinating thing, which is one reason I like to encourage people to interpret their dreams, is there is absolutely no difference in how you interpret a dream versus an intuitive vision that you get during a meditation. And here is why. All of the information flows through your unique body mind, and it's going to use your imagination to put together and stitch together the visions for you. And so your body mind is going to create that. And so it's really important to be tuned in to how your body mind creates symbols. And that's one reason I really enjoy utilizing dreaming for budding intuitives or people who want to live a more intuitive lifestyle, because it is something that we all do, even if you don't remember it yet. And it's something that will give you so much insight. It's really, really good. So good. Okay, Jessica has a really good comment here. Jessica says, the water usually represents emotions. Yes. I have a recurrent effect when I dream with water. It doesn't matter what might have been going on in it. I dive into the water, and I mean, if my head is underwater, not just my body, I get swept away by a total sense of calm and a desire to just stay there, drifting into it until a part of me snaps a little out of it and remember to continue doing whatever was going on in each dream. I've never been able to interpret it correctly. It feels so universal, homely, like a crack in the dream that shouldn't have happened in it. Okay, so Jessica, let me ask you, do you occasionally get so caught up in your emotions and passions that you really enjoy it, but it disrupts you in daily life? Like you're flowing along in daily life and you get so caught up in a specific emotion that you actually lose track of what you're doing, and you kind of have to get back on track after it kind of calms down a bit? Let me know if that makes sense, or if that correlates with what happens in your physical life, your waking life. I'm going to drink some coffee while we wait. Yeah, kind of. Okay. So here's something that can happen. Now, Jessica, I know you're highly intuitive, and you have a strong element of water, right? So water is one of the core elements, and water almost always represents emotions. So if the water is going over your head and making it so you can't focus, that's letting you know that two things. That your emotions are overtaking your ability to reason, but the way you described it is that you get swept away and there's a sense of calm and a desire to simply enjoy the emotion. So there's two things here for you. I'd really recommend for you specifically that you give yourself more permission to simply enjoy the moment. Because here's the thing, whenever there's a water element that you're enjoying, even if it's overtaking you, it's okay to actually welcome that. You weren't drowning, you weren't in a panic. It was disrupting the flow of your dream, but it felt calming, which is a good sign that it is actually just fine for you to experience. So in your waking life, I'd encourage you to really relax into it and welcome a little bit more time to really feel your feelings and just enjoy yourself in the moment without a to-do list. Especially if you've been giving yourself a lot of things to do, you've been trying to stay really focused, give yourself permission to just kind of be without a lot of do this and that and that and that and that, right? Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense, Jessica. Aditi says, do other people in your dreams always represent an aspect of yourself? And when do you know if you're receiving messages for others and from other people's guides? Really good questions. So Jessica says it resonates. Woohoo! Okay, so here's the thing. Whenever you are dreaming, you want to interpret it for yourself first. It does not always mean it's only an aspect to yourself, but it will always reflect an aspect of yourself. And there's rare exceptions for that, but 99 times out of 100, even for super intuitive folks who do this professionally, like yours truly, whenever I'm dreaming, what will happen is whoever I'm dreaming about, even if it's one of my best friends in real life, and there is a message for her in real life, there's going to be first and foremost a message for me. And so I always interpret my dreams first as an aspect of myself. So I'll share one of my dreams. This is going to get graphic, y'all, but dreams do not care. They get graphic. So this was about 6 months to a year ago. I don't remember exactly when. And I actually reached out to a professional dream interpreter to help me with it because I was so confused about it. But the dream was located in my mom's house, right? It was in her house. And it was two of my best friends. And again, I'm going to warn you, this is getting graphic. It's about to get graphic. So if you're queasy, give yourself a 5-minute break. And then I had two of my best business besties. These are women who have similar business types, and we talk business often. And we're standing next to my mom's counter in the kitchen, and we each have a chalice. We're all in these Victorian era long velvet gowns in royal colors, like deep blue, deep purple, deep green, right? So there's a lot of richness, but it's all deeper colors. It's not primary type colors, it's deeper. And then we each have a chalice filled with, and this is the part that really tripped me up, menstrual blood, and we drank it. And so I warned you it was going to get graphic, but I'm going to interpret what it means. So there were also messages for my friends here. And so this is where dreams do not care about whether you're squeamish, by the way. The images are going to come through however they come through. And so that actually represented femininity, the menstrual blood did. So it represented all three of us stepping into our feminine essence in business. All of the gowns were the kind that queens of the Victorian era would wear. And so it's talking about stepping into our royalty and celebrating each other's successes. And so there was messages for my two other friends there about celebrating our successes and cheering each other on. But also my subconscious chose a really graphic way to talk about stepping into the feminine essence as we did it. And then blood also will represent like life's blood, vitality, that root chakra energy, which we're going to get into in just a little bit. And that was a really pivotal and important dream for me. And it really helped me clarify what I was doing. Oh, yes. Anya thought I said menstrual, as in, like a person's blood, a menstrual, like the type of person, not menstrual as in menstrual fluid. Yeah, right. It was a really intense dream. And so I reached out to a professional dream interpreter and I was like, hey, I'm a professional psychic, but this one's stumping me. Can you help? And he did. He was really great. And so, yeah, I always recommend that you interpret it as aspects for yourself first, and then explore whether there's also a message for other people. And then the other question is, when do you know if you're receiving messages from other people's guides? Usually because it will feel incomplete for just yourself, or you'll feel a compulsion to share it with someone who you know. Now, please don't engage in drive-by readings. If you don't know a person very well, please don't go and just share them with them something that you saw intuitively. Ask permission. You know, like my friends all know I'm psychic, so I can call them all up and be like, hey, I dreamed of you. Do you want to talk about it? But if they don't know yet, or you're not, like, you don't have that relationship, ask permission. So let me know if that makes sense, Aditi. So yeah, so that was my super intense weird dream. Okay, good. Gonna refresh to see if I have any comments elsewhere. So William says, I had a meditation vision of 3 bull and crawled onto my leg, and 2 of them started to fight. And then I brushed them off and then came out of it. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so what that can mean, William, is so in a meditative vision, the 3 ants that are crawling on your leg, so ants usually represent worries or anxieties or fears, and they're crawling on your leg, which usually represents stability. And so then 2 of those bull ants started to fight. So you probably had 2 warring parts of yourself, or 2 warring worries under the surface that were starting to fight. And then whenever you had the meditative vision, you brushed them off. So you brushed those worries off, which lets you know that even though it was worry, even though there was this subconscious war that was going on, you still had control and were able to brush that off and come back to yourself. So that's letting you know that you have a good grounding, that you have a good sense of self, and that you're pretty well, what's the word I'm looking for? You've got the situation well in hand, is what I meant to say. Okay, so before I move on, I do want to get into sensations, and I want to get into chakras. So any questions before we start doing that? Yes, we have questions. Good. So Arden says, do certain geometric shapes have certain inherent meanings? Yes, absolutely. So for instance, circles represent coming back to the start, or full completion, or wholeness, right? Triangles tend to represent things that have 3 sides, or a pyramid, so basically a point on top. Think about what it is, a visual representation. At the top you have the focus, if you will, the point, the pinnacle, and then you have a strong base. So triangles tend to show holy trinities, and also things that take a foundation to accumulate. The infinity shape usually represents things that are on a cycle or a loop. And so you want to look at context on whether that's a positive or negative thing. Usually infinity symbols have a positive connotation. But again, you want to look at context for everything. And Anya asked, do you look at puns and homonyms when interpreting dreams? Absolutely. Your mind will play on words. And so, like, one time I dreamed that I asked for a sign, and this is not so much a homonym as it is, like, my mom actually came down in the dream holding a literal sign with the words yes on it. Like, it was not a sign in a symbolic manner like I was asking for. It was a literal sign with the word yes on it in my dream. And so it was really interesting. So yes, you want to look at puns and homonyms and see what else it sounds like. And I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but that's a really good thing to bring up. And then Ria says, what do spirals spin? Do you mean what do spirals mean, or are you talking about spirals that spin, Ria? Let me know. Okay, spirals, if they're going down, right? If you're watching a spiral that's going down, it's letting you know that you feel like you're going in a downward spiral. You feel like things are spiraling out of control. So notice what the spiral is doing and how it's doing it. So pray that my cat doesn't turn off the computer. Come on. Hold on. We have to get her off this computer. Come on. Okay. Whew, that was close. She had her paw on the power button, y'all. Like we had a close call right now, but we got it. This is the danger of recording live with cats. All right. Yeah. Does that make sense, Ria? And usually, whenever you get a spiral, you can also ask for a resolution. Usually, there will be a resolution hidden in there. So, really good stuff. Okay, great. We're going to go ahead and um, move along. Any other questions about dreaming before we start talking about clairsentient meanings and symbols? This symbol of sensation. I should turn that into a blog post, shouldn't I? The symbols of sensation. Come on, where'd you go? Hi, baby. Do you need to be free? Okay, we're going to let her out. Come on. No, come on. Come on. Thank you. She asked to be out, but then she didn't actually want to go out. You're okay, baby. You're okay. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so Anya's boyfriend dreamed that she was dead. Should she worry, or is that just about him? I would need a lot more context for that particular dream, Anya. So for instance, it could be that you have been changing and a part of the way that you used to interact with him is gone. And depending on how he dreamed, what his fears are, what his past is, there's just a lot of interpretations that could be, and it's not necessarily something that I would worry about. Like it's almost guaranteed to not be about you actually dying, so that's fine. But I think this is more, it's definitely a reflection of him, but I would need a lot more information to be able to interpret that. Okay. Okay, so we're going to switch on to clairsentience. Thank you, by the way, for hanging with me for all of this time. We're going to move on to clairsentience. Clairsentience is, once again, the sensation that happens in the body. So an empath is a type of clairsentient. So an empath feels emotions. You feel emotions in your body. So whenever you are getting clairsentient information, it can be through emotion, it can be through sensation, it can be through tingling, etc. So you want to focus on two things: yes, no questions, and option 1 and 2. Some things don't really fit into a good yes, no question. So option 1 or 2 is better in those cases. But the yes, no question is really efficient. And you can do that indefinitely. I've done a lot of readings with people where I basically did the entire reading asking yes, no questions because I was feeling very clairsentient that day. I didn't get a lot of information through my claircognizance. So I asked, is this it or is that it? Is this it or that it? And you can do that very quickly once you get the hang of it. So what you want to look for is contraction versus expansion. These are the common sensations. Contraction, not fun, not good, don't go that way. Expansion, good, thumbs up, go that way. Warm is the same as expansion. It's a flowing of energy. It is letting you know that things are flowing and moving well. And then cold is letting you know, think of it like hot and cold games, like if you're getting hotter or colder. So if you're getting warmer and closer to the actual message for you, it'll get warmer. And if you're getting farther away from the actual message for you, you will tend to feel cooler. Tingling is almost always a signal that you are getting a message. Anytime I get tingling or chills is in the same category. It means you are on the right path. You got an accurate intuitive hit. You just said something or thought something that is very accurate, and it's wise to pay attention to. Whenever I was talking about Drasko earlier and his dream, I got chills, which let me know that I was probably on the right track there, right? Relaxed versus tense. Whenever you tune in to a yes or a no question, do you feel more relaxed, which is a yes, or more tense? Does the body contract? That lets you know it's a no. Energized versus deadened. Energized is, once again, a flow of energy. It's a little bit of excitement, but it should be healthy excitement. versus deadened, which feels like a cutting off of energy. It feels more like apathy, right? Does this make sense so far? Go ahead and press 1 if it does. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, good. So basically, we're going to practice with a couple of yes/no questions. What I'd like for you to do is to think of a question that you have. It can have to do with career, something in your personal life, and I want you to word it in a yes/no format. So, is it for my highest health, wealth, happiness, etc., if I do X, Y, Z? So just think of a decision you're thinking of making, and then let me know whenever you have that, and you can write it down if you like. So especially if you're in a place you can write things down, go and write down the question. Is it for my best and highest good if I do X, Y, Z? How do you feel the energy? Do you feel it in your body? Like, do you feel sensations in the body, William? William asked if you feel energy. What Claire are you? Okay, then William, that's clairsentience. Yeah. So Arden says there are days when I feel like my mind is not quite there, like I can't process and compute. There's new sensations that I don't know how to interpret. Does that have to do with spiritual or in your system not necessarily catching up? Normally I'm super analytical. Okay, Arden, are you, two questions. Have you been resting and taking time off of anything that gives you input? So for instance, have you actually been giving yourself 1 to 2 hours a day where you are not plugged into Facebook, you're not holding onto your phone, you are not listening to anything, your TV is off, etc. There's no extra input. Let me know if you have at least 1 to 2 hours a day where you're not putting stuff into your mind and body. Okay, so if you have not been giving your body mind time to rest other than actual sleep, then what you're talking about is basically an issue that we are having in our current society, where we have all these ways to receive input. And we are overloading our body minds with stuff. So absolutely it can be a sign of spiritual integration. But for you, I would suspect that you need more time where you're not putting things into your brain, quite frankly. You're not stimulating your body in any way. So I would really start to carve out a time 1 to 2 hours a day where you are in silence. You're not listening to another audio recording. You're not listening to a podcast. You're not on social media. You're not checking your phone. If there's a family emergency that requires that you keep your phone near you, then make sure that only those who are involved in the emergency can get through your notifications and put everyone else on mute, right? But if you're just choosing to have everything on all the time, that's the consequence. It puts a lot of stress on the body mind. Let me know if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. She says that she's also been doing new areas of work at work. So it's also a bit of information overload. I have no doubt. So make sure that you're actually taking the time to let your brain not absorb new content and actually process everything that it already has in it, right? It's okay. You can be in silence. You might feel bored, and that is not a bad thing at all. Okay, so we're going to do this. Go ahead and let me know if you have a piece of advice that you would like from your intuition. That's yes or no. Press 2 whenever you have your thing that you want to check in on. Okay, good. We've got some 2s. We're going to press 4 if you will need another few minutes. Okay, we're getting a lot of 2s. I don't see any 4s. Okay. Good. Okay, so this is all that you have to do. Hands over heart, shoulders relaxed back and down. Take a nice relaxing breath. And take it from both your stomach and your chest. You want to expand it all. And now think about your question and hold it in your mind's eye. And hold it for 1 second, 2 seconds, and then let it go out of your mind and out of your awareness. And notice what your body did. Did your body tense up whenever you asked the question, or did it relax? So I want you to write down, either in your own journal if you don't want to share, or in the chat box, what did you experience? This is a very fast exercise. It doesn't take a lot of time. Relaxed. Good. So Anya, if you asked a yes or no question, that's likely a yes. Good. Aditi said, I experienced a circle of light surrounding me that I tensed up in response to. Okay, good. Okay, so Zana didn't experience any shift, just a continued calm. Good. Okay, good. So okay, Aditi, let's unpack this because this is very common. Okay, my hair just got caught. Okay, there we go. So basically, you actually got a visual. So you didn't even get a sensation so much. You got a visual of a circle of light surrounding you. And basically, that circle of light, number one, it's a circle. So it represents basically you being held in light. It represents a sense of completion, a sense of safety. Light is, especially if it's a golden light or a white light, tends to be a very positive thing to visualize. And then the light is trustworthy, and then another part of you is afraid. So when you focus on the light, what happens, Aditi? So Javier asked a yes, no question, felt warm sensation in his chest. That's wonderful. And that means yes, usually, Javier. Okay, good. So whenever you focused on the light, your shoulders and stomach clenched up. Is that correct, Aditi? Okay, so here's what that tends to mean. So whenever you focus on the light and you feel that sensation, that's letting you know that there is still a part of you that's afraid of the illumination. You don't have to do it yet. So whatever your question was, it's letting you know two things. Number one, it's letting you know that it is perfectly safe and that the answer is yes, and that you have some fears that you will want to work through either before or as you go. So in your stomach is letting you know solar plexus. So solar plexus has to do with confidence, feelings of self-esteem and self-identity. And the shoulders are usually the heart chakra. So this is about receiving. So there's some part of this where you're afraid of what you're going to receive if you take this action or if you say yes to this. And so you will want to work with both of those pieces as you move forward. Let me know if that makes sense, Aditi. Okay, great. Great. So Zana, I'm going to go to you next. So you had a yes, no question and you didn't experience any shift. You just felt continued calm. So a few questions. Did you feel calm before you started or just whenever you started your breathing exercise? Go ahead and let me know, Zana. By the way, I'm loving these live trainings. Who else here is really enjoying this experience of getting to go back and forth? Okay, so Zana felt calm when she started breathing. Excellent, excellent. So here's the thing. You felt calm when you started breathing, and then there was no shift whenever you got it. that means that the yes no question that you asked, it probably doesn't matter one way or the other, and it's probably the wrong question. And by the wrong question, I mean the answer is literally it doesn't matter. You can do either thing. You can do it or not do it, and it's not going to make a significant difference. So it means that you're focused on the wrong thing. Whenever you don't get a big shift, it doesn't mean you didn't get anything. The information that you're getting is letting you know it doesn't matter, right? And there are lots of things like that where it does not matter. For instance, it did not matter if I wore my favorite new shirt today or if I forgot to put on my shirt, my favorite shirt today, and wore my pajamas, right? Because I don't know if anyone noticed, but last time I forgot to change into my cute new clothes that I bought specifically to do these trainings, and I wore my pajama shirt because I completely forgot. So basically, it's telling you that it does not matter, right, Xana? So either option is fine. So if it's for an outcome that's really important to you, you'll want to come up with a different question. Does that make sense, Anna? Let me know. Okay, so you don't know what other question to ask. This is where you can get some creativity. Does this have to do with your business, Xana, or is this about an issue in your personal life? Okay, I thought so. So what I would do, you're professional enough at this point that you can just go straight to the outcome, right? Decide what outcome you want, and you already know this. I know you already know this. And then ask your intuition, what's going to get me there? What do I need to know today that will get me there, right? And then that will go ahead and do it. Okay, so Arden says that she missed the last few minutes. Does it matter how we phrase the question? So you want to ask it in a yes-no format for this particular exercise, Arden. So it's like a yes-no. Is it for my highest good health, wealth, or happiness to have a salad for lunch or to have soup? I'm making this one up. My body wants a salad. Okay, so I'm having a salad for lunch. I guess it doesn't matter. So, like that's the kind of thing you want to think about. And, like, again, I get them super fast because I've been doing this professionally for 8 years, but you just want to think of something that's a yes, no question. And then you ask that. Does that help, Arden? Let me know. Good. Okay, let me scroll up to see if there's anything else. So Javier, we've already talked about yours. Good. Esther, good. So Esther said, I got a rolling and circling thing in front of me and then felt calm. So Esther, did the rolling and circling thing in front of you feel like it was in front of your heart center, like the heart area about a foot outside your chest in front of you? Let me know. It was your head. Okay. And so was it about here? About just a foot outside of your head? A little bit less, a little bit more? Yeah, Arden, it's pretty simple and straightforward. So it would be similar to the way you do it with muscle testing. Good, good. Just in front, so right here. Okay, good. So the circling that you're feeling is your intuition opening up. Because notice she got the sensation around the third eye. This is where the third eye is, right? So that's where your third eye is. And it's just in front of it, which is really interesting. And so the rolling and circling is letting her know that the intuition is gearing up for the answer. And then she felt calm. So her intuition was processing, and then it gave her a sense of calm because she asked specifically for it to come through a sensation. Esther, I suspect you're a little bit more advanced than this particular exercise, which is fine. By the way, you're still welcome to do it. It's great for everyone to practice. I just found out what I'm having for lunch. It's great. And so that's letting you know that you are getting an intuitive hit because it's right here. And it is the calmness is letting you know that it's a yes. Let me know if that makes sense for you, Esther. Okay. Makes sense. Good. Good. Excellent. Okay. All right. So What we're going to do next is we're going to do a quick debrief of the 7 major chakras, okay? And let me go ahead and switch my share. I'm going to share a different screen. Isn't Jade so cute? She's been such a good little, yeah, she's behaved so well. Yeah, good job, Jade. Okay. Let me go ahead and we're going to share a PDF. So hold on. Okay, can you see the root chakra? Let me know in the comments. You should see root chakra on the screen. Good. Okay. Good. So these chakras, we're going to go over the 7 majors, and you will have a chance to download this in the replay area. I better write that down. So you'll get to download this in the replay area. Your root chakra is located in the pelvis. It has a red color associated with it. Depending on the person, it can be a vibrant red like the color of my lipstick. Other people, that's an alarm sensation. So theirs will look more like a more grounded color, just a little bit more brown in it, right? But it's really about how your body experiences that. Whenever I see root chakra colors, it's usually blood red because that's how my body experiences that vitality. So this chakra has to do with abundance, stability, and security. And the way I remember that is abundance is A, stability is S, security is S. So this chakra is roughly in your ass. Abundance, stability, and security. A little joke to get you remembering where it is. And whenever this works well, there is a sensation of all is well with the world, especially your world in particular. You're going to experience security and safety. You will have a materially safe place to live in a secure living environment, in a stable living environment. Your adrenals will function well, pain and problem-free hips, legs, backs, knees, ankles, and joints, and healthy reproductive organs. You will feel calm, centered, focused in the face of adversity and upheaval. Things change in the physical world, right? So it is wise to pay attention to how your energy system is reacting to that. And whenever you look at it energetically, it's going to be a vibrant red. Whatever that vibrancy looks like to you, that's what it's going to look like. And it's also going to look whole and complete. It will not have holes in it. So when this chakra needs some TLC, there's a feeling of impending doom or excessive worry. Who here feels impending doom or excessive worry all the time? Press 1 if that is you. There's a sense of danger even if you're perfectly safe. There's insecurity month to month or week to week, etc. And your living place will not feel secure. It's either going to be threatened or taken away, or it will feel that way even if it's actually secure. This deals with both material and the emotional aspects. You will have adrenal fatigue, or you can have adrenal fatigue, painful hips, back, legs, knees, ankles, and joints, problematic reproductive organs. They're going to act up, and a feeling of panic, especially in the face of adversity or upheaval. And if you look at it energetically, it looks full of holes. It doesn't look as vibrant as it's supposed to. It's going to feel incomplete or small in some way. It's not going to feel vibrant. So Aditi says she experiences some instability in her first chakra, and so does Anya, but Anya's is on and off. So Anya, if yours is expanding and contracting, if it's going through a little bit of a, oh, I'm fine, and then, no, I'm not, then that is normal during growth stages. And I'd also encourage you to look at what's called a secondary block. Secondary blocks originate in a different energy center, but they impact all of them. So for you, I'd look at second or third chakra energy, which we're going to get through. And these are, this is chakra number 1. So the root chakra is chakra number 1. Yeah, and then Anya says, yeah, I'm also thinking those symptoms sound like a trauma response. Absolutely. If someone's been traumatized, it's incredibly difficult to experience safety in the physical body. So if you have a big trauma response, your first chakra absolutely will want some TLC. Jody says, emotionally, I'm fine, but I'm having major hip pain. So a couple things. whenever it comes to hip pain, you want to look at a couple things. Now, first off, if you have been ignoring all of your body's needs and you're not stretching, you're not doing all of the things that your body needs, like walking regularly, etc., then you're encouraging emotional and energetic stagnation, and that manifests as those physical symptoms. And so I'd highly recommend making sure you're getting enough healthy movement in your body and healthy stretching. So especially if you have the emotional piece in place, make sure you're teaching your body that it's safe to be in motion and movement. Thank you so much for being here, William. He has to go. Thank you very much for being here. Yeah, Arden asked a really good question. Does meditation posture affect the energy flow? Yes, it does. And so basically, whenever you're in a good posture, really fascinating stuff. First off, there are many, many traditions that teach variations of this, Arden. And so anytime you're in a positive state, like you're a spirit inhabiting a body, right? That's what this is. You are a spirit. This thing that I'm wearing that has purple hair, it's lovely. I love this human body, but it is not me. This is what I'm inhabiting while I am on my earth tour this time, right? I like it. I have the body, but I am not the body, right? And it's the same for you, Arden. So you want to hold your body in a way so that the body knows that it is safe. And so that is part of why meditation teachers will often instruct you to have really good posture, because if you slump over like this, or you're trying to meditate like this, what happens is the body is absolutely certain it is not actually safe. And so it's going to give you the biochemicals to support you feeling that lack of safety. And as far as whether you should or shouldn't have your feet crossed, listen to your body. Like the lotus position is fine if that resonates with your body. If you feel better with your feet on the ground, that's great too. Good question. We're going to move on. Okay. Sacral. Sacral chakra is a few inches below the belly button. It's an orange color. This energy center has to do with emotional stability, your dominant vibration, relationships, passion, creativity, and focus. Now, this is also sexual energy too. So there's a lot going on in this energy center. And when this energy center works well, you will experience clarity on what you want, a high level of focus, deep emotionally fulfilling relationships, a high vibe. It's going to feel easy to stay in a place of expansion and peace, and your emotions will be fairly stable. You will experience good creative flow, and you will feel comfortable in ease and intimate settings. So you'll have a healthy sexual relationship, whatever that means for you. When this chakra needs TLC, you will have very little or no clarity on what you want. Confusion will be your dominant emotion or experience here. It's difficult to focus both on little tasks and larger life goals. You will have crappy relationships. That is the technical term for it. Low vibration, your emotions will be all over the place. 1 minute you're going to feel great. The next minute you're going to feel anxious. The next minute you're going to be thrilled about your new opportunity. And then the next minute you're going to feel completely depressed, right? So your erratic emotions are a sign that this chakra needs some TLC. You're not going to have a lot of creative flow because you won't have the bandwidth for it. Now you're going to have discomfort with intimacy or intimate settings, kidney problems, and constipation, lower back tension and pain, and muscle spasms are all common with this energy center. Whenever you feel a sensation right under that belly button area, it has to do with this energy center, the sacral chakra. Solar plexus chakra, this is a yellow one, and it's located right under your rib cage, and its associated color is yellow. This chakra has to do with feelings of personal power, feelings of empowerment, self-confidence, and it is associated with action. So if you have a dream and you're not taking action, your solar plexus is usually the culprit. This particular energy center will work well. When it works well, you will have high confidence, feelings of personal power, sense of worth and well-being and worthiness, low resistance to taking action, little or no guilt or shame. And whenever guilt and shame show up, they're very temporary, low stress, and a feeling of control over your life, as well as an ability to enjoy the sweetness of life. You can actually enjoy yourself day to day. When this one needs TLC, you're going to have low confidence. You're not going to feel very empowered. You'll have low self-worth. You'll struggle with feelings of unworthiness. You'll have a crap load of resistance to taking action. And you will also feel a lot of guilt and shame for whatever it is you're doing or not doing. So if you do something, you'll feel guilt and shame for all the things you didn't do while you're doing the thing, no matter what it is. And you'll have high stress, bitterness, diabetes can manifest whenever this one needs some TLC, stomach ulcers and other stomach upsets, gallbladder issues, and small intestines issues. So let me know if that resonates, if that makes sense. And the next one is the heart chakra. This one's pretty simple. This one, there's a lot that goes into it, but basically whenever I'm looking at it, I'm just looking at open and closed, active or inactive. That's it. And we're going to get into more details in a bit. When it's open, you're actively given to others, when it's open and active. So you're actively helping others and you want to make the world a better place. If it's active and closed, you're giving and helping others, but not out of the goodness of your heart, but it's for prestige or approval or some other motivating factor. So doctors who are in it for the money, rescue workers who would enjoy the adrenaline rush are examples of people with closed, active heart chakras. Inactive, but open. Desire to make the world a better place, but is not acting on this desire. Almost always this is because of a solar plexus block. Sometimes it's root chakra. Most of the time it's solar plexus. So college student who doesn't have the time or money, or someone who feels disempowered or unworthy to help. Inactive and closed, not interested in helping others, doesn't want to do anything to help. So a cynic who thinks that helping others is a waste of time and resources. Also sociopaths. Okay, Anya has a good question. I don't know if I understand what comes first. Do you have stress because your chakra needs TLC, so you deal with the stress to heal the chakra, or do you heal the chakra in order to eliminate the stress feelings? So it's a little bit of both, Anya. It's going to depend on whether you heal best inside out or outside in. So some people, generally extroverts, but not always, will heal best by actually working to handle the stress, and then it heals the chakra. Introverts tend to do better healing the chakra, and then they experience less stress. Now, what you don't want to do is ignore physical reality. So if you're stressed because your bills are $5,000 and you're making $3,000, meditating is not the only thing that you should be doing, right? You want to change something in your physical life so that either you have the income to cover all the bills, or you have decreased your bills so that you can cover it. I like money because it's an easy example, right? Because sometimes what will happen is spiritual practitioners or those in spiritual arts will ignore physical actions they can do that eliminate stress because they think they should only heal with energy whenever it's a both and situation. Let me know if that resonates or if that makes sense, Anya. So heart chakra continued. Feelings of compassion for, okay, good, it makes sense. Feeling of compassion for those who are in pain, caring for the world and the inhabitants, a desire to make the world a better place, and consistent action to help others without compromising your own well-being. That's important for my healers here today. Healthy heart, lungs, and circulatory system. Tend to have pain-free upper back and shoulders, and it tends to be a vibrant green or pink and will look whole and complete. Now, everyone experiences it a little bit differently. Some people see pink, some people see green. You're not wrong, whichever one you experience. Just notice whether it feels vibrant to you or not. Okay, we're going to try to be somewhat fast because I've got another call at 1. Plus, y'all have been with me. Y'all are rock stars. It's been an hour and 40 minutes, and we're still going, and y'all are still here with me. Y'all are not bored of me yet, are you? Let me know. Okay, so when this chakra needs some love, you're going to feel blame towards everyone, right? Like it's going to be their fault they're experiencing pain. Oh, good. So Arden likes this new learning. Good. I'm enjoying this. This is fun for me. A disregard for the world and its inhabitants, apathy about the world that's not going to feel good to help others, and also your boundaries will be crap. So no action to help others, even if you feel called to, and unhealthy lungs, heart, or circulatory system, and pain in the upper back and shoulders. And whenever you look at it, it's going to have holes or look dull. We are going to move through these last three fairly quickly. The throat chakra has 3 layers. It's blue. It's located right here. And it's connected to all manner of truth speaking. There's 3 layers. Layer 1 is the innermost layer, and it has to do with your own personal truth, your connection to your own heart-centered truth. Layer 2 is the middle layer, and that's your willingness to express yourself. So we're looking at willingness. Whether or not it's wise to communicate in any given circumstance is going to depend on the energetics of the situation. But you want to be willing to speak your truth, even if you decide it's not wise to. The third layer is outer layer, that is effective communication. If you have the connection to your truth and a willingness to express yourself, then the last piece is, do you communicate well? So if that outer layer is blocked, your communication will come out jumbled, or it will seem like no one seems to understand you, even though you have clarity on yourself and you're willing to speak your truth. No one seems to understand what you're saying or fully receives what you're saying. You're often misunderstood, and miscommunications happen whenever it's out of alignment. When it's in alignment, miscommunications are rare. Oh, good, Aditi. I'm glad you're enjoying this too. So basically, we've covered it. You're going to have a deep connection to your personal truth. You will have relationship that encourages healthy self-expression. And so you will also find that whenever this chakra needs some love, fake friendships will pop up. It'll feel like it's just on the surface. You're going through the motions. Ear pain or hearing problems, poorly functioning thyroid, and whenever you look at it, it has holes or it's a little dull. All of that is normal with a throat chakra that wants some TLC. Good. The brow chakra, Esther got hers working today. So it's right here. It's associated with psychic information. So basically there's 3 layers. Receiving, if you have a pulse, you're receiving. Recognizing and interpreting is the middle layer. And I used to only call it interpretation, but I realized people got it and didn't even understand. So I added the recognition piece over time to that middle layer. Because it's in there. You have to recognize it and then interpret. And then the outer layer is faith in action. Now, true story, this entire miniseries is about these 3 layers, right? We're working on all 3. We already got layer 1. You did that by having a heartbeat. Layer 2, we focused on recognition, and today we're working on interpretation. And the last layer is faith and action. We'll be talking about that in the next 2 classes, which I'm very excited about. And so that's basically the brow chakra. There will be a little bit more details for you in the PDF when you download it. And the crown chakra, that's located on the top of your head. It's actually more right here, right? So you know that soft spot on a baby, newborn baby, that's the crown chakra. And oh my gosh, people can get so interesting whenever it comes to the color of this chakra. So you will either experience it as a vibrant white or violet. So it just depends on the person. One is not better than the other. It's okay to honor how you experience it. I see it as that white color. I see it as vibrant white. A lot of people see it as violet. Please, I've seen professionals get into actual arguments about this. Please don't argue. It's fine for other people to experience it a little differently from you. All right. So this is located on the top of your head, and it connects you to source. So you will experience miracles on a regular basis. You'll feel like a full partner with the universe when this is working well. True story, we're going to be working with this one as we go as well. That's one reason I put that forgiveness meditation in the bonuses. You will have access to that. You will have a love of God, universe, or source energy, and God, universe, source energy, whatever you want to call that energy that supports and guides us all and holds us in the light of love. Will feel safe rather than cold or uncaring. You will know on a deep level that you're a spiritual being having a physical experience. You will have ease praying or meditating. It doesn't have to be both. Some people just don't resonate with meditation, but they can pray with ease. That's fine. Vice versa is true too. You'll have a healthy pineal gland, a sense of peace and happiness, and it will look healthy whenever you look at it. When it is needing some TLC, you will feel disconnected to the miracles that are unfolding in your life. It will feel like you don't have any. You will feel as though the universe makes decisions without you and you've been left behind and your needs are not considered. You will be angry at the universe or source energy. And you will feel like a physical being, and you'll feel very, very identified with the physical body, which can be terrifying because I can guarantee your physical body will one day die, right? And so whenever you're identifying with the body rather than spirit, that becomes very terrifying. Whenever you're connected to your spirit or your essence, then knowing that your body's going to die is nothing to freak out about, right? And you can have frequent migraine headaches, depression, neurological issues, brain fog. And when you look at it, it will have some holes or will feel dull. Does that make sense? Press 1. Jessica says, if you have every chakra at least a little bit blocked or bad, how do you know which chakra problem is central or bothering you otherwise? Thank you for being here for so long, Javier. Have a really good day. Thanks for joining us. And so really good question. So Jessica, I recommend doing the chakra clearing. If you go to my website, you can download the meditation for free. It's the main opt-in. And if you were supposed to download it at some point and you forgot how to get to it, just email me at ea@spiritualmechanic.com and I'll get that for you. But I recommend balancing all 7 major chakras. And that helps. Then you don't have to work on just one. You can do them all once or twice a day, and that works very well. Does that make sense, Jessica? Okay, good. Good. Excellent. Okay, so that wraps us up for today. What I'd love for you to do, we're going to meet again on Tuesday, which is a day of, I don't remember what day that is. Let me ask my calendar, which tells me everything that I'm doing in my life. So hold on. It really does. It's the 17th. Thank you, calendar. Okay, so we're going to see each other again on the 17th, and we are going to be working with getting your inner Dowdy McDowderson on your side. So we'll actually be doing some deep work on the ego. We're going to do a live meditation to bring the ego in as a full partner rather than as a little part of yourself that's running around causing issues. Right? We want to bring that ego in as a partner and feel complete and whole in this human body while we're going about it, while also being centered in our real place of power, which is our spirit. So we're going to do that next time. And so definitely show up live or send me your questions ahead of time if you cannot make it live. So thank you, everyone. I have so appreciated doing this. And thank you for staying here for the whole time, because that was almost 2 hours. So y'all are rock stars. Thank you for being here. And I will see you on Tuesday. If you know of a friend that needs to be on this training, feel free to share the link with them, because the more the merrier. And, it's time for us all to be stepping into our intuition. So thank you so much. And I will see you next time. Bye, everyone. And thank you.